Well, thank you for coming on my show, Horatio.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. What got you into acting?
Back a long time ago, when I was a kid, I used to watch TV shows, like a lot of TV shows, and Christy McNichol. I had a crush on her, and I figured the only way that I would be able to meet her was to become an actor. So back then, it planted the seed of wanting to become one, but I really didn't take up on it or like pick up on doing anything acting wise until my 30s. I was in the construction industry in New York City for over 20 years. I was an architect, whatever. And I did a job for a client named Richard Kane. He was on Law and Order. And I saw his episode and he was really, really good. And then I said to myself, I have to find out whether I can act or not. I got just forget about everything else. You understand? I got to get out there and see if I could do it because I have a bit of an over the top personality. I don't know if you can tell that or not about me, but I like to make people laugh and I like to perform. So he sent me to these people called Maria Greco, uh, Maria and Tony Greco. They were like acting teachers and they were agents also, and they were tough. Maria and Tony would yell at people. Maria, I mean, but they loved me. But they hated the fact that I'd show up for like 2, 3 classes and then I'd miss a class and
Hmm.
then I'd show up again and everything. And Maria pulled me to the side. She goes, "Listen, Rachel, you got what it takes. What's the matter with you? Why don't you show up for the classes?" And unfortunately, at that time, I had other things going on in the construction industry. So I never really followed through until I moved to South Florida. And then I got into the acting school of South Florida. And well, here we are. I've been on a few TV shows and stuff like that.
Amazing, amazing. Um,
Thank you.
you moved here from New York and now live in Florida. And uh, what
Yeah.
made you move from New York to Florida?
Ah, I had 2 stomach operations
Hmm.
and I kind of retired from the construction industry. And I wanted to get into a better climate because it was really hell on my stomach. I'm getting a third operation for that matter in a few months and everything. So I figured, let's move down to Florida. And originally I wanted to go into opening a restaurant. So I started culinary. I wanted to make sure that if anything happens in the kitchen, I can step in. But let me tell you something, feeding the ungrateful masses, forget about it. They got complaints about everything. And 99% of the businesses go under. So I said, forget about this restaurant business. I'm just going to throw money out the window over here. Let's go to acting school. Let's pick it up again. So that's when I typed in acting schools, South Florida acting school, and I went. And let me tell you something, I was nervous like my first day. Forget about it. I was really nervous and stuff. And they asked, what do you want? What do you want out of it? What's your end game? I said a star on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm gonna settle for anything less. Forget that. And then I started picking up on the little nuances. And in one class, I'll never forget this. In one class, Sarah Rogers, an awesome teacher down here, she gave us a commercial to read for Home Depot. And we had to go outside in the hallway and learn. And usually I was out there screwing around, laughing and stuff. But this time I took it seriously and I read it and I went back in and I read the commercial to her and she just stopped. She goes, "Wow, that was really, really good." She goes, "Do it again." And I did it again. And then I did it again. And then the class saw it and they were like, "Yeah, I would definitely buy paint from you." It just made sense at that moment, exactly what they were looking for and how to do it. Now I had a lot to learn from there, but that initial seed and that spark and that love, forgot about it, kicked off, man. I was on cloud nine because I understood. You understand? I understood what was going on.
Right, right,
Anyway,
right.
sorry about my rambling.
No, 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 you're okay. Um,
Thank you.
and um, you're a writer, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I
What's the
actually, yeah, I started writing by necessity.
what's the first thing
It
you
was
wrote?
interesting. First thing that I wrote, that's I have an ex-girlfriend. She was constantly getting stereotyped as the soccer mom or crying. She wanted to branch out. So I said, all right, let me see if I can write something, a scene. And so I just sat down, literally a pen and piece of paper, and I wrote out a scene for her where she was a junkie mom and she was shooting up in front of her kid. And the child welfare services were banging on the door. They were coming in to take the child. She's frantic and stuff like that. Maybe about 6 pages long. And when people read it, they were like, "Holy shit, this is really good." I was like, it is? They're like, yeah. I mean, you really get to the characters and you really get a feel for everybody in that short little scene. And from there, I just said, okay, all right, let me just see what else I got inside me. And then I just started writing screenplays. I wrote a screenplay about being locked up, 6 men, 7 men in a holding cell during a Category 5 hurricane, and the inner drama between them, kind
Mm-hmm.
of like 12 Angry Men with Henry Fonda, with the 12 white jurors deliberating the Latino kid's fate, and they all changed their minds, something like that. Starring Lawrence Taylor, by the way, the great football player, better actor, awesome human being. And I'm a Cowboys fan. Hey, forgot about it. And then I wrote the TV show Crazy Dead, and I had just lost my job at a insurance company selling insurance. Exciting as that situation was. So my mother said, "You got all these damn screenplays, man. Why don't you start sending one into a film festival or
Mm-hmm.
something?" And I said, "Oh, that screenplay, man. I want to send in a movie, but I'm in no position to be making movies because movies cost a lot of money." So I said, screw it. Let me see if I can do this. So I dug up Crazy Dead from the past. I wrote it like 5 years ago. And I remember generally what everything was, but I didn't want to read and cloud my mind with all this other
Mm-hmm.
stuff that was in there. I wanted to do something really nice. And then within 10 days, I cranked out 94 pages of the screenplay. And
Amazing.
I sent that into film festivals, and over 100 film festivals gave me awards for it. I mean, all kinds of awards: best writer, best concept, best creative writing, best American writer. I like that one the best. An Italian film festival. And it just seemed that people really, really took a shine to it. And it,
Mm-hmm.
it was
Mm-hmm.
amazing the way that the screen just flowed out of me, man. It just came out of me. I can't even tell you. It was just, I was in the zone.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're welcome.
Thank you.
How many screenplays have you written so far?
Ooh, completed wise, I have the three. I turned that the short that I told you about that I wrote
Mm-hmm.
initially. I actually made a short out of that. It's called American Dream. Excuse me, where I have the mother actually shooting up dope in front of the kid, and I submitted that to film festivals, and they loved that. So I have American Dream. I have Storm Cell, which we also shot. It's 80% edited. I just have to finish editing that. So we have Crazy Dead, and then I have one about an old wise guy that gets out of the joint and he wants to, straighten out his life. He's tired
Mm-hmm.
of all
Mm-hmm.
the nonsense and everything. And then I have another one that's part two to Storm Cell about Sonny, the main character. He gets out and he wants to change his life, but people don't know if he's really changing his life or he's just up to his old games and stuff. So, in all told, I'd say I have about five. And I'm in the middle of a horror movie too. I love horror movies. See, I don't know where I got this writing ability from.
Wow.
I don't know.
I also love horror movies.
Thanks.
Um, on an average, how long does it take you to write a feature, uh, a film feature or a TV pilot?
It's I actually when I wrote the pilot about the wise guy, I was with my ex and I hooked up the computer to the TV and I just started writing and I wrote that 60 about 60 pages in about 2 hours. And she's like, "Holy smoke, man! You just keep writing and the ideas come to you. I'm like, where do they come from?" I'm like, "I don't know. I did just one after the other." So that took me that, like I said, Crazy Dead took me about 10 days. Storm Cell took me about 4 or 5 days. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't take me long if I have everything in my head. I always have a roadmap, a general roadmap. With specifics go, I don't know until I get to that point. So
Right.
yeah, not long at all, not years or anything.
Do you have any favorite screenwriters or actors or directors or producers?
Man, well, Stanley Kubrick with The Shining is definitely one of my favorites. I mean, I loved that movie in more ways than I can even say. I actually saw it in the sixth grade. We snuck into the theater because they had, I don't know, they had a naked woman on the screen, so we had to go see that. And then I started to appreciate it, the slow burn and everything, the slow descent into
Hmm.
madness on Jack's part, the realizations and everything. I mean, it's just brilliantly done.
Right,
I
right.
mean, rarely modern horror movies can. can accomplish that. So have to say Stanley Kubrick is definitely high up on my
Mhm.
list.
My next follow-up question, my next not follow-up, but my next question for you is,
Sure.
overall, what are your views on today's modern films, actors or directors?
Huh. And this, unfortunately, politicalized climate that we have nowadays, I think people are straying too far away from what our objective is as filmmakers, and that's to entertain. That's all we're supposed to do. We are the court jesters of society, whether people like to admit that or not. Our job is to engage an audience and take them from where they are to somewhere else for a brief period of time. Even if it doesn't last past the final credits, that's fine. For that 2 hours, they were engaged and they were displaced from their mundane lives. Like when I saw Superman as a kid, shit, I thought I was Superman when I came out of the theater in 1978. The Raiders of the Lost Ark, the same thing, recreating in the playgrounds in the 70s for all the kids who didn't see that. Filmmakers nowadays, they're too bent on sending a message. And even if the message is to entertain, it's still a message. It's just like, just get out there and do it, man. If the people like it, you'll get praise. If the people don't, well, try again. That's all. You understand? So I don't want to say anything too disparaging, granted, because it's it's an art, it's subjective. Everybody has their own point of views on what it
Right,
is.
right,
But
100%.
there are movies like the Marvel movies. I love the Marvel movies. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
First time I saw it, I was addicted. I was mainlining it. Forget it.
What's your favorite TV show or movie? And I'll give you mine as well.
Okay, cool. My favorite TV show would have to be The Simpsons, Married with Children, and now Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
Married with Children because there was nothing like it back in the 80s when it started. The Simpsons were just so oddball that I watched the Tracy Ullman show just so I could catch those little snippets. And Schitt's Creek because Eugene Levy and Daniel Levy are hilarious. They're really, really good in that
Right,
show.
right.
And I just think the whole setup and everything. I mean, Eugene Levy's deadpan deliveries are just priceless. Those are my three favorites.
Yeah, my favorite show is it's the Criminal Minds. And
Okay.
then Grey's Anatomy. Well, not really. It's Criminal Minds and SWAT.
Yeah.
And then I also
SWAT. Okay.
like to watch what's that show? Chicago 5, Chicago PD.
So you feel like the Law and Order kind of the
Yeah, I
shows.
like Law and Order. I also like, kind of action. I like Criminal Minds, Chicago PD, and then usually Fire Department or SWAT, something like that. I like it.
Yeah.
It's actually
Action
kind of
packed.
it's cool in my opinion. I like it because it's
Yeah.
I mean, because sometimes when you watch Criminal Minds, it's kind of interesting because they kind of go
Sure.
they kind of excuse me they kind of go by real life stories almost when you see story. I know it's only one
Right
episode
on.
at one show and the next day of something else, or they
Right.
may do a continuous, but it's kind of interesting, and I
Right.
think in my opinion it's good that Criminal Minds are doing that, the TV show, is because
Right. Right.
they're spreading awareness to people in the United States, around the world, to say, hey, watch out. There are people like this. There
Right
are
on.
people that are, they can do this to real human beings, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's good about Criminal
Yeah.
Minds because, and I personally believe that the reason why the show is just going and going and going, and I personally believe that Criminal Minds
Right.
could be the next Law and Order. You look at Law and Order, it's still
Yeah.
going. It's still going, right? It because
It's a challenging show, you
Right,
know?
because with Law and Order, it's because its reason it's going is because so many people love it, and it's also telling
Sure.
almost real life stories. And
Right.
you compare that to Criminal Minds, it's almost the same. You look at you
Yeah.
look at almost every police show, okay? And
Yeah.
Chicago PD, it's still going. Chicago
Yeah.
PD, Criminal Minds, Law and Order. Law and Order's a lot more, been going a lot longer. But to me, when I look at that
Right.
show, it's like the reason I believe it's still going is because it's bringing awareness to people, right? When you go to a store at night,
Right.
when you go to a store at night, I hate that, you are really more serious about surrounding yourself, right?
Sure.
Especially when
Sure.
for anybody, when you see a
Yeah.
young lady or teenagers or anybody going out to a parking lot by themselves at night, you kind of
Right.
it's kind of weird, but you kind of look at them and say, okay, make sure they're getting in the car okay, making sure everything's fine.
Right.
You don't want to leave right away because
Right.
if you leave, you could have been the last witness seeing something, right? So, and that's why I think that's good they're
Something
doing
terrible. Yeah.
right. That's good they're doing the shows like that because they're spreading awareness, and that's why I love those shows. Um, it's not because
Sure.
yeah, it's part of it because I'm a Law and Order. I like police shows, but also it's kind of it it changes your views a little bit. You think everything is kind of a little different, right? But that's the
Yep.
one thing I like about the Hollywood business wise is as well that they are
Sure.
showing people in the world say, hey, this can happen in your own state. This can happen
Yeah.
anywhere. You look at
It's a reality.
crimes, and it's very sad,
And
but it's the
unfortunately, it's
truth.
rampant.
And it's true, but it's a good show. I just love it. So that's why I want to.
It's engaging, of course. It's
Yeah.
engaging, it's informative. It allows the audience to become part of what they're
hmm
showing, and in a way of showing the audience, like, hey, this could be you if you don't pay attention to what's going on over
Yeah.
here. That's just a normal person doing normal things, just like you.
Yeah.
So
And,
you
and
better wake
it's
up. You
interesting. It's
understand?
it's interesting as you have people who just like get off work or whatever, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I got to watch Criminal Minds. This is my moment. You can't bother me
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
time, from
yeah.
this time to this time." And everybody's like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean we can't bother you from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.?" They're like, "Don't bother me. Don't talk to me. I'm watching Criminal Minds. Not even during
Yeah.
commercial break because I won't know what you're talking about." And it's like, it's kind
Right
of like in
on.
that
See,
moment, right?
that's what
It's
I'm
like,
talking about. Entertainment.
right.
That's it.
And that's the good thing about entertainment is because, and it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter what show. It's just like everybody is glued.
No.
I used to watch, it sounds horrible to say this. I used to watch Glee and the TV show Glee, right?
Listen, why is that horrible?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a really good show. Unfortunately, two of the main characters passed away, but it's a good show. Talks about the high school life of what's going on, but
Sure.
and also talks about if you mind me saying this, about accepting your friends if they're gay, or if they're LGBTQ,
Sure.
and that's what the TV show Glee was about as well. But also, I will say is that
Yes.
one thing I noticed is that I like it when they're doing about school life because we don't know what's going. I don't want to say we don't know because I've been in school, but they're doing TV shows about schools is because that's what's kind of
Yes.
going on in real life in these schools. You kind of want to talk about
It's a
going
large
down the
demographic.
right, going down the hallway, going to classrooms and stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
it's very important. But it's something that I love about entertainment is that um it's telling people stories, but also it's
Yes.
telling what I mean by telling people stories, telling people's real life stories. When you have
Yes.
movies that tell you about true life event and you're thinking, wow, this person's they always say at the end of the movie this is the real person, but they don't tell you where they're living in the United States because safety. But it's like that's
Right.
only the actors who got to be in the film get to meet the people.
Yes.
But it's so powerful because they are, as a
Yes,
victim,
it is.
they're saying please tell my story to spread awareness in the
Yeah.
world, especially in the United States. It's please spread my story. You remember the girl that was kidnapped in was it Colorado from her bedroom? Elizabeth, you know who I'm talking about, Elizabeth.
So I might, yeah,
Yeah,
I think
and
so.
they made a movie about her, and that's the story,
Okay.
and people are being awareness and all, the stories and I think
In the middle of the night in Colorado.
yeah, correct. And I believe, you know, um, it's spreading awareness. Law enforcement, I believe
Absolutely, it is.
law enforcement loves that because we are telling people, be careful, be careful,
Yes,
and that's the one thing about
yes,
entertainment industry. We're telling people stories, but also we're not telling people stories. We're making movies, we're making TV shows. And I think,
right.
I don't want to say I think. I know I keep saying I think, but it's this is the truth about the
It
entertainment
is.
industry. A lot of people may say, um, you know, I don't want to say a lot of people say, what would we do if we don't have entertainment industry? We can't tell people's true life story, emotional stories, emotional movies, you
Yes,
know, music.
yes.
We live our life like blah, right? It's like if we don't have
It'd be
music,
very mundane for sure.
right? If we don't have music, then our life would be kind of like nothing to make us peace, make no peace, right?
Crap.
But now we
It'd
have
be crap.
music, we have thing to make their music is also telling our story.
Yes,
And there are,
yes,
you
yes.
you listen to music artists, for example, mine, I like Taylor Swift, I like Adele, I like Lady Gaga. But you
Sure.
listen to those artists and you listen to some of their songs and listen to some of their lyrics. There are some people
Yes.
that sit down and cry listening to the songs because they're like
Sure.
this is my story. This is my lyrics. This
Yes.
is me. And you think about it, it's like, wow, right. This is it. So, I totally agree with you. It is we are telling stories and we
Yes.
I don't attack no directors or no producers. I love all producers and I
Right.
love all directors and love writers because we're telling
Sure.
stories. We're and so
That that's it.
that's
You
it.
know, we're getting our messages out to people that we want to have without beating them over the head with it repeatedly and blindsiding them and everything. You know, to fully engage a person on all levels on like the TV show that you watch is very hard. You understand? I mean, your passion for that show, forget about it. It's next level. And I love that. I mean, I absolutely love that you're so passionate about that. And that's what we need more of.
Yeah, and
More of that kind of attitude.
I know there's people who say I can't watch Criminal Minds because it's just so ooh, right? And I understand that
That's
because
yeah.
there are people who they say, "Wow, I can't. That's so true-ish. I can't think." And to me, it's like
Yeah.
I understand that, but also I think in the back of my head, it's like, okay, now it's getting to people because they know it can happen in real life, and it does.
Yes. Yes, it
And it's
does.
just
Unfortunately.
it is. It's the truth. And but but other than that, I like Grey's Anatomy. I like hospital shows. I've been watching Grey's Anatomy.
You like The Sopranos?
Oh yeah. Uh, I just love
I met
Grey's.
a bunch of them. I met a bunch of those actors in New
Oh, I
York.
love Grey's Anatomy. I love them. If I would just go on that show and play a victim. I really would. I love everybody on that
Yeah.
show. I love everybody from the very beginning, and I'm still watching it from the very
Yeah.
beginning to now. And it's
Nice.
just that also means something because it's still going, but it also is so
Yes.
encouraging. People are paying
Yes.
attention. So, it's just it's there are shows that make you so emotional.
They're
There are
great
shows that
TV
make you
shows.
happy. So,
It's almost like some of the people even have emotional catharsis from watching the show. Like you said, this is my story, and now they can let those feelings out just from watching that
mhm.
story or listening to that song, just like you said. I mean, that's entertainment. When touching
Yes,
somebody's soul like that,
100%.
that's what it's all
Yes.
about. Now you've done good. Forget about the money, forget about the fame. When you touch somebody, you've done good.
Yep.
That's the way I feel anyway.
That's what I call it. Oh, anyway, back to my next question. No, you're good. That's true. I totally agree with you. Um, what do you think makes you stand out and different from everyone else?
Ah, my New York smile. I'll explain what I mean by that. When I was selling Harley Davidsons, as soon as I talked to somebody, they'd be like, "You're from New York, aren't you?" And after like the 10th time, I was like, "I don't want to be rude because I want to sell a bike here." I said, "I know how you can tell I'm from New York by my smile, right? My New York smile, my personality, my over the top. I'm energetic. I'm passionate about what I do. I believe in what I do. As I've told others, I don't do Crazy Dead for the money. I don't care about the fame either. I want to entertain people. I want to create that scenario of that Superman with the little kid that I was and give it to other people. Now, Crazy Dead, it's a comedy of Married with Children meets Schitt's Creek. You understand? It's
Hmm.
got all the modern um, I don't know even know how to say these things that people are looking for in modern entertainment. It's got plenty of diversity across the board. I have a gay character, Quentin, in it, but he's not defined by that. He's defined by who he is, and he just
Hmm.
happens to be a gay guy that works in the funeral home. You understand? There's no jokes at his expense or anything like that. All the characters blend together nicely to form a cohesive unit. It's dysfunctional. You understand? So when I put my writing out there, I put myself into it, and I believe in what I do. And I don't think many people in Hollywood, I don't know. I don't know. I want to jump to conclusions here. You understand? I don't think many people put passion into it anymore. I don't think they put part of themselves into it. I don't think
Hmm.
they let themselves become, I hate to say this, vulnerable through their screenplays. I let a lot of myself. I when I originally wrote the lead for that, I wrote for Lawrence Taylor, my friend. I wanted him to play it. But he said he can't do it because of scheduling and it would take too long for him to take off of his other responsibilities. So when I reread it, I'm like, holy smoke, man, this character is just me. And he comes across as stoic but firm, but whatever. There's a lot in there. So what separates me is my big mouth.
Well, that's amazing. That's awesome. Um, I always talk about this with every of my guests.
Sure.
And September is Suicide Prevention Month, and I'm a big mental health advocate. Um, and I'm
Yeah.
not ashamed to talk about it. I suffer depression.
Don't be.
Um, and
Oh, I'm
as
sorry to hear that.
yourself, what is if you have experienced a mental health breakdown or mental health issues in your life, um, what is your message for any young actors, actresses, or any young teenagers, if they're in the entertainment industry or not, and they're
Yeah.
going through some mental
Yeah.
health? What is your
Yeah, that's a
message?
Yeah, that's in the entertainment industry is a lot harsher than in the regular world because you're going to hear no constantly, and you're going to constantly self-doubt yourself and think whether you're good enough. And on top of that, you're going to compare yourself to other people that are out there, which is going to diminish yourself in your own eyes and lead to bad things. I had a cousin of mine who decided, well, he decided whatever it is he decided, and it still affects me to this day. And I get angry because he did what he did. And my message is just don't pay attention to anybody other than your own self. Listen to it. Plow through the discouragement because you're going to hear no constantly. That's all you're going to hear is no. There is no problems. There are solutions. Don't worry about anything. Take a step back when you get overwhelmed, too. Just take a step back out of everything. You understand? Reflect. See what's going on because nothing, and I guarantee you, there's nothing that bad that make somebody to go down that road without talking to somebody, getting some help, reaching out. Ain't no weakness in that. You understand me? There's no weakness in reaching out to people and sharing your feelings with them in this day and age, we should be able to share feelings with people, anybody for that matter. You understand? And to belittle or discourage, I hate people like that. I don't like that when people dump on other people to make themselves feel better. Forget about that. So my message is stay strong. And when you can't reach out to somebody, talk. That's all you got to do. Communicate. Tell people what's going on inside of your head because I guarantee you an outside source can see things better than you can with what's going on inside your head. My head is convoluted. Forget about it. Insecurity and doubts run rampant. I mean, there's all kinds of, especially laying in bed at night. Am I good enough? Is this good enough? I just got to put all that to the side and plow through it. But that's my process. That's not everybody's process. So people need to just let other people know what's going on inside them and work through it. It's not going to take 5 minutes. You understand? It's going to take a little time to sort out everything that you got going on inside of your head because you created a long time to jumble it up. It's going to take a little time to straighten it all out, but it can be done. and it will be done. You just got to take that first step. You understand? You got to let somebody know beforehand as to how you're feeling and what's going on. And the sooner the better, too. Don't put it off. Don't wait. We waiting for the bus. It ain't coming. You understand me? Open your mouth and say, find an avenue. There's a million ways nowadays. There's therapists on the phone, on computers. They're everywhere. Don't be shy about that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm a little passionate about that. My
No, I
cousin and
appreciate
everything.
it.
You
Thank you,
understand?
thank you, thank you for that message, and it means a lot to the rest of the world,
You're
that
welcome.
message. Thank you. You know,
You're welcome.
and that message will impact a lot of people in the entertainment industry and
I hope so.
not in the entertainment industry. I
I
totally
hope
agree with you.
so. You understand? I don't want people to think that there's nothing else, that there's a dead end, man. It just upsets me. And I don't
Yeah.
like that. Everybody
I
has
totally agree
value
with
to
you.
them. Everybody.
Hmm.
Everybody has value.
Yeah,
You
I
might not
totally.
see the value in yourself, but others around you do, and it's there. So you got just got to work things out.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you. Thank you very much. On a happy
You're
note,
very welcome.
on a happy note,
Sure.
you said your favorite sport is Dallas Cowboys. Um, what
The
is
New York Yankees, Cowboys.
do you have a favorite college football team? If so, who is it?
Yes, I do. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm from New York, right? My favorite football team is the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I am a huge Cornhuskers fan. When they won 40-7 over the weekend, oh my God, I was jumping around my living room. The story is that in 1983, we were down here in Miami with my parents, and they happened to walk into a hotel that Nebraska fans were staying at, and they gave them a bunch of T-shirts and pennants. And my parents came home. They don't know nothing about sports. They're two foreigners. They were born in Hungary. They're immigrants and stuff. So they're like, here. I was like, holy shit, this is so cool, man. All this Nebraska stuff. And then I was standing at the counter with my father, right? And the guy next to me was telling the clerk that he had two tickets to the Orange Bowl. That was when Miami was playing Nebraska for the national championship in '83, I believe, and he couldn't go and he wanted to sell them. You know how much he wanted for the ticket? This is gonna
Um,
blow your mind. $50. $50 for it. 50, man. I was like, Dad. My dad's just like, okay. He bought me one ticket because he didn't want to go. It was right behind the Nebraska bench with Gil Turner, Irving Fryer, Mike Rozier, and everything. They had the fumble Ruski. They lost the game. But became a huge Nebraska fan after that. Massive
wow,
Nebraska.
wow.
From New York, huh?
Hmm. That is crazy.
Right on.
That's crazy. Wow.
Thanks. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I love Nebraska. I tell you
Wow.
how much I love Nebraska. I went to Syracuse University, right? And the year that I went in '86, Syracuse played Nebraska. I rooted for Nebraska. No joke, man. I rooted for them 100%. I love the Orangemen, but Nebraska's my team in football.
Wow. Wow.
Syracuse in
Amazing.
basketball.
Amazing. That's so awesome.
Thanks.
Well, I appreciate you coming on my show.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and I would love to have you back on my show.
Anytime. You just let me know. I had a blast today, man. Forget about it, man. This was so much fun. It's my first one ever. So,
Thank you, thank you. We'll stay in touch, and I would love to have you back.
absolutely.
All right.
Thanks.
Well,
I appreciate it, man.
I
You have
will
yourself a good day.
no, you're very welcome, and like I said, I'd love to have you back and talking more about your acting and all this stuff. So thank you.
I got a million stories. Forget about it, man. I can keep you entertained for years. Growing up in New York in the construction industry, I got one or two stories there.
Right.
Like Tony Soprano. No, not like Tony Soprano.
Oh, before I let you go, I forgot to ask. Do you have any upcoming projects?
Yeah, about the Crazy Dead TV show that I have that I wrote it as a screenplay and then I converted it into a TV show because I didn't know how to submit the TV show into film festivals. Do you do one episode? Do you do 6 episodes? I said, best way to get my story across is through the screenplay. So I'm working on that right now. That's the only thing that I got going on. But as far as the writing that horror movie, you understand? I want to get these horror. I want a Shining. I want my
Mhm.
Shining. And people think I'm a little bit too fixated on it because I'm always thinking about scenarios. and I live alone, so I watch horror movies at night in the dark. And yeah, most of them are okay, and they are what they are. So I'm always trying to come up with something new. But other than Crazy Dead, nah, that's it.
That's amazing. And I love horror movies as well. Where can people find you on social media?
Uh, Social media. Well, Facebook, Horatio Lewis Tihanyi. That I have cataloged every single thing that I've ever done as far as Crazy Dead for the past year and 3 months or so on there. Uh, really, beyond that, I really don't have anything else because the Film Freeway and IMDb. They can find me on IMDb. Um, eh, yeah, that's about it. I'm not really, I'm an old man. I can barely
No,
remember
it's
my first
okay.
name. Forgot about social media, I got posting over here, Instagram and everything. Because honest to God, on hand to God on this one, I forget. I just plain forget. So that's why I cataloged everything onto Facebook. And I know
And if
social
you
media
mind
is
me
important when it
asking,
comes to the entertainment industry.
if you mind
Yeah.
me, if you mind me asking,
Dude,
because I know most people may be wondering, what is your Instagram
yeah.
name?
Instagram name is Crazy Dead. KRAZYDAAD. Dead. DAAD. That's it. I'm going to start posting more onto there too. As soon as I think of what to post, because I want to keep it. I don't think anybody really cares what I had for breakfast. Hell, I don't even care. So I want to be posting most of what stuff about Crazy Dead. Like there's a new article that came out on me yesterday and stuff. That's going to go up there. Gets to real in depth about me and the Crazy Dead and my
Hmm.
inspirations and stuff like that. Uh, and I tried starting a YouTube channel, but I'm just not interesting. Good Lord help me. I am not that interesting. So I'm trying to find ways of becoming more interesting to get Crazy Dead out there also. But my main focus is getting Crazy Dead done, getting it made.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's the ultimate. That to me is my end game.
All
You
right.
understand? Once I secure the financing, I have a cast of characters that I already would have in my on paper too that I'd like. One of them is a very famous YouTuber named Ryan George. I don't know if you ever heard of him. This kid is hilarious. He does these pitch meetings where he acts as the screenwriter guy and producer guy, and they go back and forth. I mean, he's just beyond hilarious. He would fit perfectly into one of the cast members and stuff like that. So yeah, they'll find me on social media sooner or later. You
Well,
know,
everyone keep an eye out on him for him, and look for his
yeah,
look
that's a
for
good
his
idea. Keep an eye out.
look for your social media. Well,
Right
thank you
on, my
for coming
brother.
on my show, and I look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
I talk to you
Thank you
soon.
very much for having me.
You're very
Bye bye.
welcome. Bye bye.